Welcome to 180 U-Turn, the talk show that features some of the greatest conversion stories of our time. Stories of men and women who are on the highway to hell when they encountered a Damascus Road experience that completely changed their lives. Hello everyone, I'm Steve Savant. Today I'm broadcasting live from Teen Challenge Christian Life Ranch in New River, Arizona, one of the premier detox and rehab facilities for drug and alcohol abuse. For more information on their rehab services, their weekly meetings, and special events, just hop out to their website at tcaz.org. That's T for teen, C for challenge, AZ as in Arizona.org. And if you want to write me, please do. I love it. Here's my email for the show, steve@180uturn.com. That's steve@180youturn.com. And I'll be happy to respond to you, and thank you again for the Bible verses that you guys sent. Well, today we're at day 4. Finally, we get to Holy Thursday. Oh, thank you. And we're with Elijah Coburn. Welcome to the show again.
Thank you.
Well, today we talked about, you had a call with your mom just as we were closing out yesterday's episode. And, after talking about the stuff that you were into and how dark it became, I like how the old saying is it's darkest just before dawn. That old pithy platitude. And I see this in your story, that it's as dark as it's going to get, and we're right before the dawn. So I always tell people, the light that's coming is going to be blinding. You've been in darkness so long that your eyes are unaccustomed to any light, much less his light, right? So let's pick it up. You have this conversation with your mom, right? Mm-hmm. And your mom wants you to go to detox. I mean, you knew that already, so that wasn't news. But she's suggesting that you go to a Christian detox, right?
Right.
Which basically made you want to throw up, basically,
Mm-hmm.
right? If I can,
yeah.
So let's talk about that.
I was in jail. It took me 6 months actually before I reached out to my mom. It took me 6 months of detoxing, of finally putting some weight back on my body, of being alone with no one to talk to before I called her. And right off the bat, she was happy to hear me and was encouraging me to go to Teen Challenge or some sort of Christian rehab. Mm-hmm. And I didn't think I wanted a rehab. I didn't think I wanted, I definitely didn't want God. I didn't want anything to do with Him. Mm-hmm.
But you were okay with maybe taking her suggestion?
Not initially. I feel like it took me 6 months to feel like I was going to be okay not doing drugs. And when not to do drugs again, I went from a time in my life where I thought I was going to do drugs till the day I died. Every single day when I was in jail up until this point, I dreamt about it, I thought about it, and I finally came to this conclusion that though drugs were something that I prized, something that seemed like the most, the best thing I could feel in life, it took the place of everything else. You could never do anything else. And
she when she came to you, she was sending you stuff in jail.
Yeah. Including
C.S. Lewis's book, The Horse and His Boy.
Yeah. She sent me all 7 of the Chronicles of Narnia.
Did you like it?
Yeah. You got a lot of time in jail, and I read most of the other books, so that was just something else. Actually, I didn't even go to them right away. I waited till I read just about every other book before I read the Christian books my mom sent me. And when I got to A Horse and His Boy, it's a story about this boy who goes through these events in his life. Sometimes they're crazy, sometimes they're painful, but it's always something directing his path almost specifically. And when he gets to the end, he talks to Aslan, or the lion in the story, who's a representation of Christ. And the boy says, didn't I have such bad luck? All this stuff happened to bring me here. And the lion lets him know that he doesn't have bad luck, that he was the one guiding his every step the whole way there, just to get him to that point to finally speak to him. And I remember being in jail on my bunk on the top and crying my eyes out because I knew that's what God was doing in my life.
Whoa. Moments before, I hate God.
Yeah, and moments afterwards too.
And so you're crying, and you're experiencing something, but...
Yeah, I was crying. I knew God was real. I knew He was directing my path. I knew He was bringing me to this point in my life. And I finished the book. I wiped the tears off my face. I closed it. I hopped down off my bunk, and I proceeded to deny the existence of God and make fun of all the other Christians that were there and tell them how silly and closed-minded they are.
Okay, well, let's even say that you have the guts to pull this off after having a little experience on the top bunk, right?
Right.
Which, by the way, I always try to measure definitions by experiences, and this is a big definition of callous of heart, seared heart. You know, this is where I'm so I can't feel anything. I just had an experience on the top bunk, and again, I found the fortitude to blow it off. See, this is the thing that always blows my mind about our rebellion. It's so deep that even in the shadow of the obvious, right? Even in the shadow of the obvious, like, oh no, not God, right? So tell me, how did you go? So now you hop off your bunk and you're still your angry, rebellious self. You're telling everybody God doesn't exist, right? Yeah.
And yeah, so I just continued on that path. I continued in jail. And God continued working on my heart. And I wasn't sentenced at this time. Another 6 months went by. And I remember being on the phone and finally telling my mom, hey, I'll go to a Christian rehab, whichever one you want me to go to. But I'm not going because I need it, because obviously I don't need God. I'm smarter than the Christians are. But
did you really believe that?
Yeah, I thought I was...
Well, let's
really believe what? That God didn't exist? Or
no, that you're smarter than everybody else.
I thought I was smarter than the rest of them.
I don't know how you came to that conclusion, right? Because they have jobs and a nice place to live.
Right, and here I am in jail with nothing.
You're 100 pounds, soaking wet. Yeah. See, this is the divine delusion of some people, right?
Right.
I am smarter than everybody else. Yeah, but I'm in jail. I'm smarter than everybody else. Yes, and I'm addicted. I'm smarter than everybody else. I'm living beneath the 202. This is the kind of thing where the mind, it's so illogical, it's so irrational, and the only excuse, or what I could say is, the only way I could prescribe something pastorally is, hey, man, this is rebellion at its worst, right?
100%.
This is so off, in my view,
right? The
beating path of any kind of, finally you'd be thinking you'd be waking up, but not yet. So keep going.
Yeah, so my mom encouraged me to go to Teen Challenge. And I told her I would go, and she ended up telling me, or almost a week after I told her I would go to a Christian rehab, I went to court, and it turns out they were going to let me out. So they gave me time served for the time I was in there, the year, and 3 years probation. And right before I got out, the prosecution came and told me, they said, hey, my boss told me we're going to give you this deal. We have more charges against you because when you get out and when you mess up, we're going to bring up all your other charges. We're going to throw away your probation, your time served. We're going to stack that up, and we're going to put you away for a long time. So I got out. I went to rehab, Teen Challenge, and my first day there, I thought I made a big mistake. They had me reading my Bible twice a day. They had me shaving every morning, making my bed, going to chapel, all these things I hated and wanted nothing to do with. And
well, I'm kind of stunned by your prior statement here, because that you just got reprieved, really. I mean, even though they're going to keep it over your head, right? Yeah. You really got reprieved.
For sure. I got off way lighter than I should have. Yeah.
So you go to Teen Challenge, you come here, and did you not know that it was going to be a God-centered event? I mean, yes, no?
I mean, I did, but I don't know. I mean, your expectations are always different than reality, once again, I wasn't there for myself. I wasn't there because I wanted to be there. And in my head, I was saying I was here to make my parents happy because, I had such a good future and was throwing it away. It was, and did all these things to let them down. For the first time in my life, I thought I was going to make them proud and happy by jumping through a couple hoops and submitting myself to whatever they wanted me to do. So I was at Teen Challenge. I was arguing with all the staff all the time about theology and whether or not God existed. And I ended up having a brother that came up to me, and he was talking with me, and I was trying to debate with him whether or not God existed, and he just brought up Romans 1 and was just like, dude, there's a God. Like, I don't even want to have this conversation with you. He's like, there's a God. I don't know who you're trying to convince. And just walked away. And I was so upset that he wouldn't want to debate with me anymore, and how could he think that I think there's a God? And that was something that kept me up all night that night. I remember laying in bed just battling that within my mind, and I finally came to the conclusion that I was lying to myself, that obviously I know there's a God. I've always known there was a God.
When you have, this is why I think you are your own self-refuting argument. Do you see this?
Yeah, for sure.
You're self-refuting, because I'm listening to you talk, and I'm going, I hate the God that doesn't exist. Okay, so
Right.
there's that issue.
Right,
You
right,
got
right,
that
right.
issue, right? So that's kind of self-refuting, right?
100%.
So if I was a logical person and
Uh-huh.
I was the top of the line debater from an atheistic point of view, I guess I would be already at that conclusion. I wouldn't be so upset about it. Hey, this guy's a dimwit. He believes in nothing, right? It's just imagination. It's vanity. So it come out of his own thinking, which is actually all the attributes I'd like to give them. Okay, you're here at Teen Challenge and you're being challenged, and I like how people sometimes, I'm going to Romans 1 rather than go ahead and do a forensic debate with you, because you know what I mean. How much is that going to do, right? What's it going to do? Right? Is it going to? It's not going to change his mind.
Not at all.
Right? So, but is it going to change yours?
It did. It finally changed my mind. It finally opened my eyes, and from there, I believe that was the means that God began to reveal the gospel to me. He began to show me who He was. That He's not just love, all love, but God is holy. He's set apart. He's far above everything else in creation. He's just. He's not only just, He's perfectly just. It says the foundations of His throne is righteousness and judgment, or justice. And so because of this, we've broken every single one of God's laws. And we think to ourselves that because God's love, He can't hate. But like we were saying earlier, but my idea of Christianity, who God was only one side of the coin. There's always another side, right? Like if I love babies, I hate abortion. If I love black people, I'm going to hate slavery. If I love Jews, I'm going to hate the Holocaust. You can't love one and be neutral to the other.
Right.
So because God is good, because He is just, because He is holy, He must hate everything that is not. He must punish that. And that's what we've all done. We've all sinned against a holy God.
Yes, I love the aspect. One of my favorite king there's not many good kings in the Old Testament, I'm sorry to say, but out of the 5 that I like, right, the 5 good ones, I love Josiah. They discovered the Bible. They lost the Bible. I don't know how they did it, but they lost the Bible in their generations. And they're cleaning out the temple, doing a rehab work in the temple. This is, by the way, very spiritual for guys who are going through addiction. We're going to go and fix the temple. We're going to have to rehabilitate it because it's been broken down and things are coming in through the walls, and there's a lot of issues here. So they go to rebuild. They find the law. Nobody's seen the law for a couple hundred years. They don't even know what the law is. And the scribe is reading to little Josiah. The guy was 8 years old when he became king and actually ruler, I think, like at 18 or 19. And he's reading it, and he reads it, and he goes, no wonder we're under judgment. Look at what we're supposed to be into, right? And he rips his clothes off and gets in sackcloth and ash, right? And repents. That's his first response after reading, what is the rule? Do you require, oh God, right? This, know. So I love that area. Okay, so you're starting to understand this. You're coming to terms with it. But when does the born again experience occur?
I think it was that night. I remember my eyes were open to the full counsel of God, to who He was, to who I am before a holy God, what He did to save and reconcile sinners to Himself. And I remember waking up that night. Or I was already awake. It was like 3 a.m, way later than I should have been up, a couple hours past lights out. And I just really had it on my heart that I wanted to tell someone, this change that had occurred in me. And I walked out of my room, and there was just one of the staff members there way later than he should have been. Had no clue why he was there. He was just waiting on the Lord, was walking down the stairs right there. And I looked at him, and, I told him, what the change that God had brought in my life. But even then, it wasn't like everything completely changed. Some other events happened. I still was really rebellious, having a hard time with authority, having a hard time to follow the structure there at the program. And I got to a point where I got in some trouble in the program. I wanted to leave. My time was extended, and I was having a hard time being there. And I remember being in chapel, sitting in there during worship, just reading through my Psalms, just praying the Psalms to God, trying to be alone with Him. And I got to Psalms 27. And when I got to the end of it, it was a book that I hadn't opened in over 10 years, my Bible. And when I opened it, it was circled, underlined, and written on the side, the last part of it, where it says, wait on God. And the other one was circled, said, wait on the Lord. And it was written on the side, wait on God. And I just really felt like the Lord was just telling me to wait on Him there. And this was the first time in my life where I really not only was I saved at this point, but I really surrendered truly everything that I was, all my desires, everything fully to him, and just began walking with him.
Was that Psalm 27 you
Psalm
read from?
27, yes, sir.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, which is very cool, and if you have said, Steve, I've never read Psalm 27, it's a major blockbuster part of my testimony, that actual
Is it
psalm.
really?
I know, it's shocking.
Small
But
world.
small world, because God is big and his word is eternal and it's life and spirit to me. I mean, it's his truth. And that entered into my part of my testimony. And every time I've shared that, there's only a little section in there I use. People are just like, where did you get that? Hey, that's Psalm 27. You're saying, I know I've been impatient. I know I should be waiting on the Lord. I know I should be cooling my jets and letting him enter my life and give me peace first before I move out anywhere. If that's you today, maybe that's something you should start to consider, because think about it. All of our activity and actions without him have caused all the dilemmas that we're in. So I'm going to wait on the Lord, let him renew my strength, have me peace out, and see what he does. I think that's the thing. Well, listen, we got to go. Listen, if you want to have any more information on Teen Challenge out here at the ranch in New River, Arizona, just hop out to their website at tcaz.org, tcaz.org, and you'll be able to see their events, their weekly services, and anything that they're doing that you may want to be a very part of. And listen, maybe you're not having problems like Elijah did. Maybe you say, hey, I'd like to volunteer. I'd like to be somebody that would be helpful here. You may want to go call them up or look up them on the website and hit the contact and send them a note. I think they'd be appreciated to have people volunteer. Listen, so until next time, I'm Steve Savant, and remember, no one's outside the reach of God. No, not one.